Hey everyone, welcome back to Mom Minute. So school is in full swing and I know that many parents like me have their kids settling in. My kids are finally getting acclimated to their new schools. Now I hope that when my kids are at school, they're enjoying their education, doing what they're supposed to be doing and studying hard, but I know my kids well enough to know that's not always going to be the case. So here are 2 questions about helping your child be a good student. Sylvia asks, I can never get my daughter to do her homework. Any tricks to make studying easier? Number 1 would always recommend that you find a certain routine that works for your child. Some kids prefer doing homework in the morning if they have late start school. Some kids prefer doing it right after school. Some kids need a break after school and then need to do their homework. Whatever works for your particular child, set a routine and stick to it. Like always make sure they're doing it at the same time every day so that it becomes just a very natural thing and then you won't find that you're fighting them quite as much on homework routine. Another suggestion is find the setting that works for them. So in my family, we have kind of a wide variety. I have 2 daughters that can study quietly at a desk. They like everything to be still and very, very silent. But my 4th daughter loves noise. She's kind of like a light and airy personality and she likes commotion. And so for her to be in a quiet room is very, very like stifling. So she doesn't study nearly as well. So for her, we can put her on her bed that's a little more comfy and cozy and turn on a radio kind of soft and she does great that way. So for me, it's all about finding what study methods work for my particular kids. Another recommendation I would say is to make sure that you leave the television off. Or I could even say the internet, unless they're using it for actual school purposes. And I saw on Pinterest the other day this super clever idea. This mom had taken a Post-it note and put it like on a door and it said, you want today's Wi-Fi password? And then it had like a list of things the child had to do. And I thought that was so clever. And you could use it for TV too, because you can password your televisions as a parent. So it's a great idea. If your kid gets caught up in watching cartoons right after school and doesn't get their homework done, you just say to them, if you want today's television password, your homework needs to be done, your bed needs to be made, whatever the checklist is. Another suggestion is always remember to reward good behavior. Now, if your child's having a hard time getting their homework done, maybe you set a goal of like, if you get all of your homework done for 1 week without me reminding you 1,000 times, then we'll go out for an ice cream at the end of the week. Or you get 15 extra minutes with mom that night. Or you get another bedtime story, or whatever the reward may be that works in your home. But that encourages your kids to do well and have good behavior instead of negative behavior. Maureen asks, I got a call from my son's teacher saying that he's being disruptive in class. What should I do? So as a parent, nobody wants to get this phone call. Nobody wants to have the teacher calling them and telling that their kid's misbehaving in class. It's just not a fun time. Now, you may have the rogue teacher that's just really ornery and is being too harsh on your kid, but chances are that there's truth to what the teacher is saying. So my first piece of advice would be support the teacher. Don't just automatically assume it's the teacher's fault or some other kid's fault and your kid is perfectly, innocent. It probably just isn't the case. So first of all, support your teacher. Go in and talk to him. I know this is a really sensitive subject for me because I have a son who has developmental delays. So when I met with his kindergarten teacher this year, I just frankly went up to her and said, my son can be a problem. And I love him and I want school to be a great place for him and I want him to be successful here, but I want you to know that I'm here to back you as a teacher. And if you're having a hard time with my son, feel free to call me. Feel free to bring me into the conversation and the discussion. I'm happy to come over during the day and sit in his class, whatever you need to make him feel successful and you feel like you can actually teach and do the things you need to in your classroom as well. So it's all about supporting the teacher. And as soon as you say that, they're so much nicer. They're like, oh, we love you as a parent and we're happy to work with your child. And they're not going to be nearly as upset or frustrated with your kid if they know that there's a parent that's willing to work with them. So my second suggestion would be bring whatever the teacher's talking about and work on it at home. So if the teacher's saying that your child's chatting too much, go home and talk about it with your child. Bring it up, have a conversation with them, explain why that's a problem in your classroom, and then maybe work on it at home. And then when they go to school in the morning, maybe you remind them and say, hey, try not to chat just so much in class today. Be better, really make it a goal to be better in class today. Another suggestion would be to get your child involved in helping fix the problem. So if the problem is that they're talking too much in class, talk to your kid and ask them, Do you have a neighbor that's particularly chatty? You know, are you bored in class? Like, what is the stimulus to you being so chit-chatty in class? And maybe the child has a few suggestions on things they can do, and then if it's their idea, they're always gonna work harder at it than if they're just being told what to do all the time. So definitely get your kid involved in fixing the problem as well. Hopefully these tips help the school year go smoothly for you guys. Now, if you have tips for Sylvia or Maureen, make sure and leave a comment below. Also, if you have any other questions for me, make sure to leave a comment or tweet at the Mom's View, #MomMinute, because I love hearing from you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.